Most good adventures don't start with a plan. They start with an idea after a few beers. I've been thinking about all the bucket list rides that I still wanted to do, and a trip across Australia felt like it would tick a few of them off in one hit. There were two in particular, the Simpson Desert and the Gunbarrel Highway in Western Australia. Once I roped in my childhood mate Max, the idea started to take shape. Toowoomba to Bunbury, right through the middle of Australia. Day 1. The bikes are loaded, fuel tanks are full, and the sun is just starting to rise over Toowoomba. There's a mix of excitement and nerves in the air. There's nothing quite like the first day on a ride like this. We're joined from the start by our mate James from Townsville. He's on for the first half of the trip across Australia. The first part of what's going to be an unforgettable adventure. Now, no one wants to be the first one to drop a bike on a ride like this, but it's going to happen. This short little creek would test us out. Quite easy on little bikes, but with over 200 kilo of bike and luggage, this one would test us out.
Nearly.
Easy.
James on the big Tenere was up next. His short legs probably weren't going to do him any favours on this. And down goes another one. Now I was starting to feel the pressure, but I'd stuffed it up before I even got in. My lowered foot peg mount had caught on this tougher grass and I was going nowhere.
You're going to push the back.
Just jammed on this.
After a bit of rocking of the pig, we got through, and it was off to Nindigully. We rolled into Nindigully, covered in dust and tired, but we were greeted by the shade of the veranda and a promise of a good feed and a cold beer. Day 1 was done, the bikes held together, and tomorrow we leave the comfort behind and start riding further into the unknown. But Mother Nature had something else in store for us. Rain fell all night and it would continue into the next day, reminding us the road ahead wouldn't always be easy.
Righto, Max. What are we doing?
Well, it's currently fucking pissing rain, so we're trying to figure out how and if we can get to Cameron's Corner. So just checking the weather around the place to see which way we're going to ride.
We're at Nindigully right now. Queensland's oldest pub. Looked pretty good before we went to bed and then it got a bit wet. So.
Gaia says that it was 100% chance rain here, so it may be trustable weather.
That's where we need to try and get.
We headed south into northwest New South Wales, and it was raining hard. The thermometer barely crept above 3 degrees. The roads were slick, the wind biting, and every kilometre felt like it took twice as long. After a few hours in the cold, we finally rolled into Tumba. A coffee and a hot pie were just what we needed to lift our spirits, but it wasn't long before reality hit. Our plan to ride towards Cameron's Corner was off. Flooded roads meant we'd be forced to turn back north, heading towards Cunnamulla instead.
trying to air out a bit of our gear that was wet this morning.
Can't get any wetter, so.
It's pretty sunny now though, so if this morning was 2, at the moment we're at about 8 out of 10. We might go and have a swim at the Gunbarrel Hot Springs. How do you feel after your hot spring?
Refreshed. Not cold.
Feel good after your hot springs, James?
Refreshed, yeah.
Better than the cold plunge this morning.
After a quick stop at the Gunbarrel Hot Springs to warm up and stretch the legs, we pushed on to Alroy campgrounds for the night. Mud, rain and detours couldn't dampen the sense that the real adventure was just getting started.
Here's your range of tents, from most expensive to cheapest. It's good to see you got yours up in under an hour today, Max. Getting better.
Yeah, I've been practicing.
Setting records.
Yeah, practicing.
How do you reckon today was? Probably 480k on the books.
It wasn't too bad. A lot of sealed road, which is not the best, but with all this rain around, it's sort of all we could do, I guess.
Yeah, we're here now. Here comes the firewood delivery truck.
Once the fire was going, it was time to rehydrate with a couple of sports drinks, and then Max was on dinner duties.
Give us the rundown, Max. Where are we?
How do you say it? Alloy
Alloy
campground station. Farm stay.
Pretty good. Fire. We had breakfast cooked for us this morning.
Awesome place, $10. They bring you firewood. Old Macca cooked us some breakfast. Good.
Nice dry morning. There's hot spring baths you can have as well, which are pretty nice. And then today, where are we going?
Where are we going? Towards Birdsville. The roads are open.
We're making our way to Birdsville. Roads are open. James is packing. Next stop, Yowie. To see the Yowie.
Yeah.
After a bit of sightseeing in the small opal mining town of Yowie, it was on further west we went. After lunch, there was a bit of a detour to check out the Nindigully Hotel. This place has been serving beer since 1882 and is the only building left in the township of Nindigully. Definitely worth checking out. We didn't quite make Eromanga by nightfall, so we had to find somewhere else to camp. This little quarry off the side of the road turned out to be an absolute gem. Plenty of firewood, and that was needed because tonight was gonna be cold. I woke up absolutely freezing. It was about 1 degree and there was frost on everything. I had to get the fire going pretty quickly while the other boys stayed cuddled up in their swags. And then we were off to Birdsville. After a big day, we finally rolled into Birdsville late in the afternoon. Here we'd catch up with a few other riders who'd be joining us to cross the Simpson Desert. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Simpson Desert is around 550 kilometres and features over 1,100 sand dunes from Birdsville to Mount Dare in South Australia. It is one of the most famous rides in Australia. As we left Birdsville heading into the desert, storm clouds rolled over. A reminder that one change in the weather could leave us stranded out here. As we pushed further into the desert, we came to Air Creek and it was flooded. There was no choice but to take the longer route around via the Air Creek bypass. When it came time to cross, we had to move cautiously. Any mistake here would mean drowning a bike, and this is not the place you want to drown a bike. After all the bikes were through, it was on we went to Popple's Corner. Late in the afternoon, we arrived at Popple's Corner, our camp for the night. After a long day of sand dunes, creek crossings and whoops, it was time to relax. Max and I had brought a few beers and some frozen steaks, and we cooked up a proper meal under the Outback sky. Who says you can't enjoy a little luxury in the middle of the desert?
What do you reckon, Max?
Day 2. Let's get it done.
Where are we going?
We're going to, what's it called? Dalhousie Springs?
And then Mount Dare.
That's Mount Dare.
With all the recent rain, the sand was a bit firmer, which made it easier to ride, but it made the clay pans a nightmare. They were so soft. 4-drive tracks were the safest route, but even then, one wrong move and you were stuck. This is the last place you wanted to be digging a bike out. Late afternoon we rolled into Mount Dare, relieved and exhausted, with a bit of pride in the fact that we'd conquered the Simpson Desert. Now it was time for a couple of beers, a good feed, and to watch Queensland smash the Blues in the State of Origin. Today was a well-earned rest day. Most of the crew stayed to check bikes, rest their bodies, or just have some casual beers at the pub, but Ash, Damo and I couldn't resist a little side mission. We were heading out to the Dalhousie Hot Springs and then the Dalhousie Ruins. Another cold winter's morning in the desert as we headed north to Alice Springs. Today we'd be riding along the old Gunbarrel Highway and sections of the Finke Desert racetrack. We stopped in briefly at the lone cattleman's grave, a solitary marker in the middle of nowhere, a reminder of how isolated this land can be. We arrived and set up camp along the prologue track just outside Alice Springs. This would be home for the next 2 days, where we'd watch prologue and day 1 of the Finke Desert race. Also a chance to resupply. It was time to say goodbye to the group as me and Max started to head west. We were heading out towards Kings Canyon. In hindsight, Kings Canyon was a bit of a waste of time. It was pretty much all bitumen to get there. It didn't actually look that good. And $59 each to pitch a tent, that's a rip-off. Today we headed west, stopping in to take in Uluru and the Olgas. Both very iconic and amazing to see up close. After lunch we hit the dirt again, making a quick stop at Lassiter's Cave, the legendary hideout of Harold Bell Lassiter's Lost Gold Reef. We started the day off by visiting Giles Weather Station and witnessing the balloon release. This is Australia's last manned weather station. We also got to check out the Blue Streak rocket, which is an emblem of Australia's space history, and checked out the most famous grader in Australia. This grader was responsible for cutting in pretty much all the major adventure tracks around, Len Beadle's grader. And then it was on to start the mighty Gunbarrel Highway. After a big day of riding, it was time to set up camp. We settled on Mount Beadle, started a fire and cooked some lamb chops. This place was unreal to camp at, and the Milky Way and the stars out here are something I've never seen in my life. We left Mount Beadle and continued on the heart of the Gunbarrel Highway. This is one of Australia's most remote and legendary outback tracks. Sand, spinifex, clay pans, you name it, this place has it. After lunch, we pulled into Carnegie Station and we'd done it. We'd conquered the Gunbarrel Highway. From there it was dirt roads into Wooloona. A few kilometres up the road, we found ourselves in the middle of a cattle muster. Helicopters, trucks and people everywhere. The mob of cattle almost ran 5 kilometres up the road. A very cool experience. That night, it was just a simple camp on the side of the highway. No luxuries. The next 2 days was riding south through the goldfields to Bunbury, with each kilometre getting closer to finishing this journey. As we rolled into Bunbury, the reality of what we'd done had started to sink in. Over the last 2 weeks, we'd ridden over 6,500 kilometres with 122 hours on the seat. It was a real odd feeling, mixture of satisfaction and sadness that the trip was over. There's so many cool places to see around Australia. Where's next?